rule on our books that goes back to the early 80s that precedes even David Stern's tenure as commissioner that calls for players to stand in a line at attention during the national anthem. I also understand the role of protest, and I think that we'll deal with that situation when it presents itself. So, Shannon, are you surprised Adam Silver still hasn't taken a stand on whether the players will be asked to stand?
Absolutely not. And there's no reason for him to do that, Skip, because we're a month away from this actually to have to see what's going to transpire. But I can assure you, as time gets closer, he will jump on a phone call with Michelle Roberts, who's head of the PA. He will talk to Chris Paul. He will talk to these big stars in the NBA. And he says, okay, guys, what do you think the best way forward to be? Now, I think ideal situation is, Skip, he probably would like to see, if we're going to kneel, let's everybody on the team kneel. He doesn't want a situation, Skip, where 5 guys are standing and 11 guys are kneeling. I don't think he wants that, but he wouldn't have a problem. But I think, Skip, this commissioner has been more accommodating to his players than any commissioners, past or present, in any sport. If he believes it'll help the continuity of the sport and to help the sport grow, okay, bounce it off me, guys. If they tell him, Coach, commish, I believe everybody should be having to eat chicken. And I believe everybody should have a baked fish for the team meal. Guys, you really think that's going to help the league? I believe it'll help. He's going to run it by. Skip, I love this commissioner. I love his approach to things because he'll listen. He just don't shoot it down. And I love that about him. Skip, as this thing get closer and they get ready to have to play these games, and they're going to have to make a decision on how they're going to move forward, because like he said, Skip, this is on the books. This goes back to Larry O'Brien, who was the commissioner before David Stern. So I love the way he handled it. We'll address this situation, and we'll move forward. But I believe they will lack this rule, if only for this year, and says, okay, guys, if you want to kneel in protest, have at it.
Okay, I agree with your conclusion, but I don't agree with your beginning, because I got to tell you, I was shocked by what he did not say when he was asked this question. I am a big fan of Commissioner Silver's, but this one stopped me in my tracks, because I just anticipated when he would get asked the kneeling question, he would say, hey, whatever our players want to do right now is fine by me. Our players are driven. They are committed to keeping the Black Lives Matter conversation going for as long as we're in that bubble in Orlando. Obviously, there's been a lot of conflict. We've got 2 players today that we're waiting to hear from. Lou Williams, Dwight Howard, Clippers, Lakers. They're on the fence. They're not sure. That Dwight's got some family issues along with Black Lives Matter, with the cause issues, but still conflicted. Should we play? Should we not? Fred VanVleet yesterday just flat out said, everybody knows in their heart right now we should not be playing basketball. So I thought the commissioner would just say, hey, whatever it takes to keep the conversation going in Orlando, we are going to do that. If they want to kneel, they should kneel, because that would help keep the conversation going, right?
Right.
And he didn't say that. The first thing he said was, I am not comfortable with the word allow. When he was asked, will you allow them to kneel? Well, I'm not sure what that means. You're not comfortable with that?
No, because everything is negotiated. When they came up with these rules and regulations of how the bubble was going to do, they didn't do like the NFL, send out the memo without talking to the Players Association, Michelle Roberts. The NFL did that without talking to D. Smith. Everything is in coordination. They will talk. I believe he will jump on the phone with Michelle Roberts. Michelle Roberts would get Chris Paul and these other player execs on the phone. Okay, guys, how are we going to handle this? What are we going to do? That's not his decision to make unilaterally. Everything is worked out through the Players Association.
Yeah, but he should just be open to whatever. He should just throw it open to whatever they want to do, whatever Michelle thinks, whatever Chris Paul thinks, whatever LeBron thinks. Let's do it. I'm open for business on this issue.
And I believe he is. He's not like these other commissioners, Skip, that turn the blind, that turn the deaf ear to this cause.
Okay.
I love the way he handled it, Skip. I guarantee you, as this thing get closer, they might be having, I'm not privy to this, they might be having conversations behind the scenes as we speak. But there's no question in my mind that Michelle Roberts, who happens to be I don't know, her and Tony Clark, they drive a hard bargain.
They do. No,
Tony Clark with the MLB.
I got it. Different.
They're different sports, but they.
Right. I believe that Commissioner Silver is very proud of the fact that his players have been light years ahead of the NFL players on being able to speak up and speak out on social and racial justice issues. Because long before Colin Kaepernick had the courage to say, I'm going to sit first and then I'm going to kneel to try to draw attention to something that is horrifying, which is the killing of so many unarmed black men and women by white cops. It just kept happening over and over and over again. Now we're back to 2016. Well, long before Colin took a knee, LeBron and the Heat had taken a stand. They'd done the hoodie picture in support of Trayvon Martin, obviously.
2012, 2013?
2012, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And then at one of those ESPYs, 2014,
yeah.
Remember a big group of NBA superstars?
LeBron, D-Wade, Chris Paul, and Melo.
Yeah, and they spoke out because they are backed up and supported by their business partners, the owners of their league. The league that you played in, I don't think you considered yourself a business partner with Pat Bowlen.
Actually, right? We were workers. They considered themselves business partners with the networks.
Okay.
Fox, CBS,
there you
ESPN,
go.
NBC. Skip, you remember when Donald Sterling did what he did? And they said he got to go. Adam Silver says he got to go.
That was the first thing Adam Silver did.
I guarantee you. Roger Goodell ain't gonna have that kind of pull. Them owners are not gonna say, and the owners finally said, well, he got to go.
Okay.
Let an NFL to do that. Skip, Mr. Jerry Richardson bailed him out because they couldn't have forced him to sell. And then nothing, and they wouldn't have made him sell. There's not enough pressure because the players don't have that kind of power because they know they're not gonna band together like they will in baseball, like they will in basketball. It's funny, Skip, I just thought about this. You know the heads of the Players Association in each professional sport is minority, the major. Michelle Roberts, Tony Clark, and D. Smith.
Okay. Good. Great.
We moving.
Progress?
I'm gonna give them kudos for that.
Okay.
Now, Skip, when I look at Adam Silver, and I had the pleasure of meeting him once. If I'm not mistaken, I think I met him at the World Series, Game 7, the Dodgers and the Astros, and just talking to him and just being around him, Skip. He's just. And then I've been around met Michelle Roberts once also, and obviously I know Commissioner Goodell very well. Skip, he gets it. He gets it.
Adam gets it.
He gets it. He understands that the players are what people pay to see. Sometimes the owners in the other sport, my sport, think it's about them. And they forget that because the guy, your team that you root for, really thinks it's about him.
I would agree.
That's why he's always in front of the camera. That's why he's always talking on radio, because he thinks it's about him.
Until now. Haven't heard from him for a while.
Oh, yeah? Why? You need to do another book. I've been waiting to hear from you, Jerry. I mean, you talk all the time. Now you can't say nothing.
So back to 2016, I think Adam Silver loved the fact that they were so close with their players as their business partners that they had allowed them, that they had encouraged them to speak up and speak out on any racial justice issue.
Right.
That when it came time to Colin Kaepernick is kneeling. Now, some NFL players are kneeling. The NBA players just said, we're good.
Right.
We don't need to kneel because we've effectively been calling attention to these issues for years.
And our commissioner hears us.
Yeah.
Our commissioner has never been dismissive or anything we might have broached to him. He's never been dismissive of it.
Okay.
Unlike the other, now they're backtracking. You notice the NBA didn't say anything about they should have listened.
Okay.
Or they should, you know what I'm saying?
So my point is, Adam Silver was not faced with any crisis over, wait a second, my sponsors are not going to love it if all my players start kneeling because some of them are so old school, they're going to be afraid they're going to lose customers.
Right.
Because some of those customers, most of those white, will say, wait a second, you can't kneel during the national anthem. I don't care what the cause is. I just don't want you to kneel and disrespect the flag. We went through all that with Colin. Okay. So the point is that the NBA had no crisis because the players were all like, we're good. We don't need to kneel.
Right.
Well, guess what?
And plus, Skip, the NBA had a policy in place in the early 80s, before the 80s, that said you stand on the line. The NFL had no policy. So in other words, they were trying to implement a policy without even negotiating. This was negotiated with the Players Association. Okay, this is what we're going to do with the national anthem. You agree? Okay, we agree. The NFL had no policy. They just said, you know what? You can't kneel. Well, some. And come behind the scenes, there were other teams that behind the scenes that we're starting to hear that discouraged and frowned upon their players if they were to kneel. One guy in particular said, "You will stand, helmet in left hand, right hand on the heart."
He did.
And says if you don't do that, you're not playing for the Cowboys.
That is correct.
Now it's funny, I have yet to hear from him today. Today, I mean, we're 5 weeks.
Okay. So now comes a time that I believe will be seen historically as revolutionary when it comes to racial awareness in this country by white people for the most part. Racially aware. Let's take down all the symbols of racism, of slavery that still that got grandfathered into our society. I believe because these players are so conflicted going to Orlando that it needs to be as dramatic as possible. They're each going to have a personal slogan on their back of their jerseys in place of their names. Black Lives Matter will be prominently displayed on each of the courts that they play on. I believe they need to kneel. That's just me. I don't know if they think it's not what they do as a league. I don't know. But I think we need as powerful a statement. Now, they need to kneel in unison. You can't have this guy, that guy, not that guy, and you start taking names, you know, taking roll.
And that's what I'm afraid of in the NFL, Skip. It's not going to be who kneel, it's that who didn't kneel. And then they go ask you, well, why didn't you kneel? I don't want it to become that. Okay.
Well, is Commissioner Silver trying to navigate around a potential sponsor issue when they're under fire because they've lost so much money already because of the pandemic? Is he trying to navigate around it, hoping it goes away that nobody wants to kneel?